Part of the playbook, man. Part of the playbook of a bad season. Usually it's leaks. Usually it's a report from Schefter, or we'd all be tuned into what Jason Lock and Fora had to say. Now, Myles Garrett got straight to the podium on Friday and said, I don't need to go through anybody else. I'll just tell you how I'm feeling right now, and putting that pressure on the Cleveland Browns. I got a lot to unpack from what Myles had to say on Friday. We have a lot to unpack from that game yesterday. I don't know. Like, the worst part is you're getting to this apathetic part with the Cleveland Browns. You watch them play, and you're like, yep, that's how what we kind of expected. It's... Bengals were trying to give you that game. The defense outside of that 99-yard drive, you're still playing Joe freaking Burrow. We'll get to the good, the bad, and the ugly yesterday. There was some good in that game. But you fall, you get up to 5. Whoop-de-frickin' congratulations. Yeah, great, awesome. Still not getting a quarterback at 5, are you? Or maybe they do. Maybe Myles has had them change everything that they thought. Would you go draft a quarterback at 5 just to appease Myles Garrett?
It's a good thought.
Or would you just go, hey, we're going to take Jalen Milroe. We'll take whoever we can at 5 just to appease Myles Garrett. Lots to unpack from Garrett on Friday. We'll get to that. Recap of the Browns game yesterday. We're off the rest of the week, so we got to go around the league. We'll do that. Buckeyes! I told ya! I sit here gloating now because they did, but we got to talk college football playoff. Everybody's pissed off at Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk's been the same. He's been the same, man. He's had the same exact take for 7 years. It's about who you beat and it's who you lose to, about why these other teams are in. But God, was that bad from the College Football Playoff Committee this weekend.
Whatever.
What do you mean?
People can
They
bitch
did
and
not
moan
deserve
all
to
day
be there.
long. Whatever, dude.
Tennessee was fine. I'm
I
talking
don't care,
SMU.
Matt. Alabama
I'm
didn't
talking
deserve
Indiana.
to be there. The teams that you would say, oh, they should get in, they didn't deserve to be there
Maybe they would have gotten smoked too, Ryan. I don't know.
Give me a break. Hey, did you watch the game? Yeah, you did. So they got what they wanted. Quit bitching. If you want to get in the playoff, win.
But, wait. You said they watched the game. Did you see the ratings?
No, actually,
not even close to the NFL.
No
Not
shit.
even Ohio State.
No
and
kidding.
Granted, I get it. That's a mountain to climb. Saturday was supposed to be your day. And I'm shocked that the NFL is still like, screw you guys. We're still going to play on Saturday, even though that's your day now. I thought they would have taken that off, but no. Ratings were still all through the roof for the NFL. Those are bad games.
Whatever.
Those are bad games with teams that didn't deserve to go.
We'll get to it, but whatever. How many times have I watched a championship game where Alabama blew somebody out, Georgia blew somebody out,
This is different.
Clemson blew somebody out?
They were chosen to
Cry
go.
me a damn
They
river.
were chosen to go.
Welcome
that
to college
committee
football.
failed.
Welcome to college football.
That committee failed.
Okay, then go back to the best 2 teams, BCS. People
Go back to the BCS. I've been saying that forever.
People will still bitch
Go
and moan.
back to the
bitch
BCS.
And moan, bitch and
Do
moan.
it.
That's all college football
Do
has
it.
become. That's
I'm
all college football
always
has become.
for it.
It become a bitching and moaning fest.
Well, that's what we're going to do today because we got to get it out about the Browns, about Myles. Cavs got it all cooking for you. Kicking off the holiday week, and we are so happy to have you alongside right here on Big Play. Welcome to the show, everybody. I am Matt Fontana. He is Ryan Tyler. Good morning. So happy. A very happy holiday season from our family to yours. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the week with your family. You're done shopping, Ryan. You told me that yesterday. You're good and done? Done everything? Yep.
Yes, I did all my shopping yesterday.
I'm waiting for one last package. And it is in the very capable hands, the United Parcel Service, UPS. Just get it here. We're done and done. But hopefully everybody have a safe week. If you're off today, appreciate you joining us here. And again, so we're going to be on today. We'll be on Friday, but then that's it for the week. So we'll be off tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. You can always follow at Matt Fontana Show. I'm at Matt Fontana 83. Ryan is at Ryan Tyler 33. We're up on YouTube, Big Play, Instagram, Big Play, presented by our great friends at Fairway Ford. Had a fantastic turnout, I heard, for the Fill the Trunk event on Saturday for the Animal Charity of Ohio. So check them out, fairwayfordohio.com. And they, as we do as well, wish you a very, very happy holiday season. All right, I want to start with the game yesterday. DTR. Okay, bad, really bad, into maybe not so bad, into bad. Okay, that's what I expected. You were never going to win that game with him at quarterback. He tried to get a little more comfortable. I know he's trying to figure it all out. But that game yesterday, the defense, I saw effort. I saw these guys playing hard. Why would you give Deontay Foreman that carry? Why? You want to sit there and say, well, he's the bigger bodied guy and short yardage. He has not played in a month. He's not played football in a month. And you give him a carry on the goal. Now, that was a hell of a play. They punched that football on out. You got a running quarterback. Tush puts, oh my, like that sunk the whole game. Because they were chasing it the rest of that half. They tried to piece some stuff together in the second half to get back into that game. Do not get me started on Dustin Hopkins. We're done here. That's it. We're cooked. Over. Giving him that carry on the opening drive after that run from Ford lost you that football game yesterday. Yeah, inherently starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson probably was going to lose you that game too. But, like, I'm not even going to say that's coaching malpractice. That was just stupid. The guy's not played in a month. I get he had to be activated. Don't pull up the draft order on me now, Ryan.
I haven't
Come
looked
on.
yet. I haven't looked yet, so I'm doing my due diligence.
I thought you said you have a theory, like you did it on purpose or something. They're not doing that. But, like, that just, you were chasing that the rest of the half. Then Joe Burrow is just a magician. Then they started shutting him down. Then you started getting off the field on third down. There were how many third and manageables that the Bengals didn't convert, and you just kept giving the ball back, and the offense just couldn't do anything of semblance. DTR looked like a rookie quarterback. I mean, he's not a rookie, Matt. He's a rookie quarterback, all right? He looked like that because he didn't know what was going on. Have him run. How many RPOs were you sitting there saying if you just kept it, there was 6 yards that he could have picked up right there? He played timid. He played like a guy who hasn't had a lot of starts. Not much of what I expected there. All right. And, you know, we do, honestly, a takeaway, we got the Bengals number, man. There's something about, I know they won and Joe Burrow played his ass off and you got that garbage touchdown from Jamar Chase to make it a little bit worse. I don't know, hell of a catch. It helped a lot of fantasy teams out there too. But, like, we have their number. There's no doubt in my mind that we have their number. And Myles is in Joe Burrow's head, which is going to be really awkward when he goes and plays for the Cincinnati Bengals in the future. But that's another conversation for later in the show. But, like, that was max effort. Defense showed up at times when you needed them to, and you had no semblance of anything of an NFL running offense. We all want to sit here today and make the declaration on Dorian Thompson-Robinson. A lot of people had already had, this guy's not going to be an NFL quarterback. Sure, I probably understood that. I was as happy as anybody when they drafted him. Thought about a career backup kind of role for him. It ain't going to work here. And I'll tell you this. I was listening to the postgame yesterday with Jeff Phelps and Tyvis Powell. And it was really, Tyvis had a really great line in postgame yesterday. And he said, just go play. Talking about Dorian Thompson-Robinson specifically. Try not, and this is a good life lesson that I need to remember sometimes too, just don't worry about it. Just go out, do the best that you can, control what you can control. Go out there, and if you're not the answer for the Cleveland Browns, it doesn't mean that you're not the answer for somebody else, or it doesn't mean that you don't belong in the NFL, but just go out there and just play. Don't worry about anything else. And that's tough for Dorian Thompson-Robinson to do because he's so young and he knows he maybe is deficient. But I saw some areas where I'm like, dude, if you just would have kept it. Here's a throw here you could have back. You're trying to build with a guy that you assume is not going to be a part of your future moving forward. If anything, you've now made this unequivocally true. There's no question that none of the quarterbacks on your roster right now deserve to be here next year. None of them do. That is apparent at this point. They will move on from them, and there's a real world you're bringing in at least 2 new quarterbacks next year. What that looks like, I don't know, but that is now unequivocally a fact. You're going to be moving on for both Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Did Dorian Thompson-Robinson's performance yesterday at all influence your thoughts on bringing Jameis back as a backup?
I'm done. I love Jameis. I've already set I've set that cow out the pasture. That's done. We're over with that. I'm ready to try something else. You know what you got in him. I don't think they can live 17 games with Jameis Winston. So you move on. And if anything, again, I'm going to try to pull the positives out of it. It was funny. I was texting my brother and sister-in-law and my wife are in a group. And we were just talking about, that thing when what's the phone call you would make to tell somebody that you got captured, or like you're hostage? You have to say something so crazy for you that they would know it's something weird. Like, what would be your thing?
Oh God. Good
Skyline
question.
Chili's good.
That would definitely be a warning sign. That would definitely be a warning sign.
He calls me at 2 a.m. Ryan, what's going on? Matt, Skyline Chili is good. Who captured Ryan and where is he? We got to find him.
Yeah, that would sound some alarm bells.
That's got to be.
There's a lot of things I could say.
But their thing for me, though, is like Matt would be when he's not positive about Cleveland sports. I go, if you actually had something bad, if you weren't positive, we'd know you'd be in trouble. So to pull positive out, at least you know that now. At least you're 100% factual knowing that we're moving on from this. Talking about moving forward is what Myles Garrett had to say on Friday. So we're going to play some of the clips. I know everybody saw him, and I know he spoke after the game yesterday. Here's my thing about Myles Garrett. What he said on Friday shouldn't change a thing. If this franchise wasn't truly trying to fix this without their star player coming out and basically threatening them, then what the hell were they doing? Now, Myles is in every right to say what he said. And it's the same feeling that we all have as fans. It's different because we don't have contracts, we're not making money, and we're not going to leave, right? I know some people do leave the fandom, so to speak. It's like leaving a religion, right? Like, we all feel the same. We want something to be shown to us that there's a path out of this hellhole. What good does that do, though? And I don't think this organization needed Myles to say anything. Like, my whole thing is, if they were just sitting around going, well, we'll figure this out, and then Myles says what he says on Friday, and then they go, well, wait a minute, we really got to fix this now. You got bigger problems. You got a lot bigger problems if they were missing the gravity of this situation. And I don't think they have. They're losing money. This is not a good situation. So Myles saying what he said, sure, it lights a little bit. And it does, I think, change the game a hair. But in reality, it doesn't change anything. It shouldn't. Now, let me put it this way. It shouldn't change anything. What Myles had to say on Friday, I hope, is no different to the Browns on how they're going to approach this and get out of this. Now, the headline is what? Star player puts pressure on the organization. Okay, well, that's no different than a lot of other teams, right? Any sport, any team, you have a bad situation and a guy that doesn't deserve to be going through this. If Joe Thomas was a quarterback, we'd have won Super Bowls. If Myles Garrett played quarterback at the position at the level that he does for what he does, we'd be a Super Bowl contending team. That's not where we're at. And Myles doesn't want to have to waste his career away. I'll tell you this, I don't want him wasting his career away here. And if it truly came to that point, then yeah, you're going to have to trade him. I don't want to. And I want the Browns to at least tell him the message, but we all want the same input. Sit us down. I'd love nothing more than for Jimmy and D and JW or Paul DePodesta or whoever you want to sit down and lay the plan out. They can't do that, though, because they have to work in secrecy on all the moves that they're going to do. And yeah, Kirk Cousins going to get cut, and you might go draft a guy. Fine. They're going to have to sit down with Myles and make that pitch to not abandon this. They got to do the same to the fan base of why not to abandon this. Now, I'm stuck. Because I ain't ever going to leave. All right? I'm always going to be here. And that's why I try to be positive, because I know I'm going to root for this team every single day. And I'm going to want them to figure this out. And deep down, I know this sucks. You're going to laugh at me. Deep down, I know they're going to be good again. I don't know when. My kids might be in college at that point. They're going to get back there again. And that's all I hold on to. And that's stupid. That is insane. That's what I do.
Well, the only thing I'll say is, and you tweeted about this too, is, according to Mary Kay, they're seriously considering letting Deshaun Watson come back, get healthy, and compete for the starting role. And if you're sitting here talking about Myles Garrett putting pressure on the front office and saying, listen, I need your plan, Well, I don't know. Are they telling the media something else? They're sitting down telling Myles, no, this isn't really something that we're going to consider. We have to say this because, well, if I'm Myles Garrett, I read that article and I don't have the inside scoop from the front office that you're not just pulling a prank. Yeah, I'm going to be concerned. And if they're actually considering starting Deshaun Watson, well, that has to be thrown out the window.
No, and then this all lines up. He comes out after that article is said, and my tweet was this: he's talking about the quarterback. He's not talking about Stefanski and Barry. We all know that. He's talking about what are you going to do to fix this quarterback situation. The answer, number one, could be we are bringing Deshaun Watson back. But what Myles is more interested in is, okay, what else are you going to do? Because if that is the only thing you're going to do, I'm not going to stay here. Then, is Kirk Cousins enough to get Myles Garrett to stay here? Is going completely off the reservation and drafting Jalen Milroe at 5 enough for you to keep him around? Is this a shakeup enough that the Browns go up and get you Cam Ward?
I don't buy for a second that Myles Garrett considers staying if the Browns are seriously considering letting Deshaun Watson take another snap at quarterback.
Maybe that's the whole crux of it.
Won't buy it. And if they're not telling him in a separate room, sit him down saying that's not going to happen, that's something we have to say, but just know for your sake that's not going to happen, then Myles Garrett should be on the first plane out of this city.
What if the answer is we don't know? Because let's sit this down, right? You're Myles Garrett.
Can't be.
And you sit down and I'm the Browns.
That can't be the answer.
Ask me the question, what are you doing at quarterback? You're Myles Garrett.
You can have the answer of, I don't know. And Myles, I'm sure, as the smart guy he is, will understand that.
Myles.
But you can also say, I don't know, but I can tell you this, Deshaun Watson isn't an option.
I can't say that.
Yes,
no.
you can.
I can't.
I
don't think they're going to say that.
Then Myles
What
Garrett,
you would say is, yes, we know Deshaun didn't play well. We've got all these excuses why. There's no point in us cutting him now. He is going to come back, but we are also going to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to bring him back, but we're also going to do this other thing. Your contingency plan. That's what I think Myles is more interested in. What else are you going to do? Yeah, they could shake it up and just cut him and eat the money. And I know that's cost prohibitive and all that kind of stuff. Is that big enough to send that message? We talk so much about resetting things, which is what Myles doesn't want to do and go through this rebuild, right? Well, cutting Deshaun Watson is still a rebuild.
You don't have to cut him, obviously, but if you're Myles Garrett and you're getting the sense that there's even the most remote possibility that Deshaun Watson is going to be, again, your starting quarterback next season, for a guy who wants to be loyal to the city, and he can say all day long he wants to finish his career in Cleveland, and who am I to say he's not telling the truth? It's very possible. He said in his presser they took a chance on drafting Myles Garrett. He wants to reward them with his loyalty, but if he's sitting there for even a second and they can't guarantee him that Deshaun Watson's not going to take another snap of football in a Cleveland Browns uniform, then all good for him. If I'm him, I'm leaving as fast as I possibly can.
But it's got to be on the scope of what do you expect them to, and what are they actually able to do? Right?
It doesn't matter.
They can't go trade for Josh Allen.
You can tell Myles Garrett that you don't know what you're going to do at quarterback, but you can tell him it's not going to be Deshaun.
Here's the uncomfortable answer for Myles. There is a rebuild coming. There is, one way or another. Is he guarding against a full teardown? Which is ironic because he would be the full teardown. Everything else is just kind of window dressing. You want to change a quarterback here. You want to try to draft this receiver, move on from this defensive player, fine. The rebuild, the borderline between a full-blown rebuild and just kind of retooling a little bit is Myles Garrett. Avoiding the rebuild, I'll tell you this, he's going to avoid the rebuild no matter what. Because the rebuild is only signified by him being here or not. He is that guy. And if they trade him, that's a rebuild, and he doesn't have to go through it anyway.
But if the line in the sand of Myles Garrett staying or Myles Garrett requesting a trade is a guarantee that Deshaun Watson's never going to play a snap of football in Cleveland, then do the Browns have to?
There's no question on that. There's no thought to be given on that. If you asked me, the question is, would you rather keep Deshaun Watson or Myles Garrett? Well, duh, of course, right? And if that is something that he really needed to hear, then the Browns got to cut him. But then that gets dirty about guys making moves and guys telling them what they should do. But I don't think that's what Myles is doing. Nobody's saying that's what Myles is doing.
Yes, that can get muddy. That can get dirty when you're letting the players play in its essence, GM, whatever. I get that. But Myles Garrett, listen, I'm sure he was there in Greenbrier. He's there for every part of the season, watching how horrible Deshaun is, and they can cover it up in the media, whatever. Mm-hmm. He knows Deshaun Watson is absolutely cooked, and if he plays for the Browns next season, they have a snowball's chance in hell of winning 5 games.
But do you have a better chance with Kirk Cousins? You have a better chance with the rookie.
I can't answer that question. I don't know if it is. But at least it's not Deshaun Watson. And at least you're signaling you're trying. You're trying and you're admitting your mistakes. Myles Garrett doesn't want to sit in a franchise for the last 3-4 years of his peak career where they're not even going to try.
What he wants is what we all want. Hope. You've got to give him something that he can believe in. Because he knows it's not DTR. He knows it's not Deshaun Watson. He is in the same boat as the rest of us. I need something at the quarterback position to have some hope for. Now, the other side, you could draft whoever, sign whoever, and it could still be bad. It could still go belly up. But for right now, the only way out is to try to find a quarterback somewhere. That's, I think, what Myles is asking them to do. And you're right. It takes a toll on our lives watching Deshaun Watson play quarterback. Imagine a guy that's out there every Sunday, giving max effort, getting his 100th sack in just 115 games. A guy that is perennially the Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He's doing how much that must weigh on him to say, I'm doing everything that I can, and it doesn't mean anything.
So the Browns have to guarantee him that Deshaun Watson will not play football for the
Is that enough? Because Ryan, that could be step one. But I actually think the more important thing for Myles is what is step 2? It's the same thing. What's been done in the past is over with. What are they going to do to try to fix this?
I agree. So
that's
then
it.
Why are we getting fed by the media? And I'm not saying they're not reporting accurately. Obviously they are. I believe them. They're amazing at their jobs. But then why are the Browns even entertaining this idea? They don't have to. You're going to come back with they have to. They have to. No, they don't. They don't have to do anything.
They don't have to do anything with Deshaun Watson. And they could say, yeah, he's not going to, like, I guess, again, outside of giving Myles that peace of mind, there's literally no point in making any declaration about Deshaun Watson right now.
Just said it. Giving your star player and your only hope of ever winning.
Give that to him then. Okay. Give that to him.
I hope they do.
Well, trust me, I want it too. But if you need to give that to Myles Garrett, do it. But I think they would be disingenuous if they did that because they truly don't have their minds made up. I would say they don't have their minds made up. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Deshaun Watson being here, he's most likely going to be here. And if he's going to be here, then why you're playing
if you didn't already have your mind made up, you certainly have it made up after those Myles Garrett comments.
Well, that's the thing. You have to, right. You've accelerated this process. You have to make your decision now.
And just the fact alone that if it's truly that this is what it took for the Browns to fully make up their mind on Deshaun Watson.
Which I hope to God it wasn't.
Shame on them.
Yes, that's kind of my whole crux in this. If they needed Myles Garrett to come out on Friday and say what he said to get their ass in motion, then we got bigger problems. And I don't buy that. I don't think that. He said what he said. He's very entitled to say what he wants to say. But if they needed that to be like, oh, maybe we actually really should fix this quarterback situation, then you got a lot of bigger problems. And they're not that, trust me, they're not that stupid. They know that this is the albatross again. Troy Aikman comments and all that. This is the thing that has held up your franchise for a long time. And
I hope the credit you're giving
them. I don't think that there is any way that we can all truly move on until Deshaun Watson is not here anymore. And I'm going to ask the Cleveland Browns to do that. Just cut him. Just do it. To just signify we are going to completely move forward from this. And I know it's a detriment at your salary cap, and I know it's going to make things a lot harder with some of these other players on getting stuff. Myles needs a contract. How does that change things too when they were potentially going to be sitting down with him to start talking extension? How's that going to play? You now have your best player, arguably your second, maybe even your best player since this team came back since 1999.
Dude, let's go further than that. And I was going to have this conversation with you. Myles Garrett, and listen, I didn't watch Bernie Kosar. I didn't watch these players in the 80s and the 90s. But am I far off in saying Myles Garrett is undoubtedly already a top 5 Brown of all time?
Oh, no question. I really think he's in a conversation with Jim Brown, who I don't know if ever will be touched, to be honest with you. Joe Thomas, Otto Graham, Myles Garrett. That's it. And you just draw that line at Hall of Famers. Ozzie, sure. We've had other great players. Myles Garrett is already there. And this might have to be, somebody brought this up about Reggie White. The Packers had to let him go. He had to leave. And that's a star player. It's a quarterback of a defense getting traded, right? Like that's where we're at of kind of what Myles is bringing. And the thing is, Myles wants this to work here. I believe he wants to stay here, but they have to meet him halfway. And I think he looks a lot at Joe Thomas to sit there and say, I don't want to go down like that. I don't want to be here wasting away the important years of my career. Yeah, he makes a lot of money and he's going to be an all-pro and all that other kind of stuff. Sometimes just playing in an NFC or AFC championship game would probably mean more to him. He's deserved that. He's owed that. And it's like him begging for help. What he said on Friday was a cry for help. I want this to work here. But no matter what I do, it doesn't matter because you have not solved this other problem. And I want to know what you're going to do to solve that problem.
Here's the most uncomfortable part of this conversation, too, because as good as Myles is, every player has their prime, of course, as we all know. And if you don't see yourself really going to the playoffs, being competitive in the next 2 to 3 years, Matt, and if I had to guess, I'm going to say they're not going to, then if you're the Browns and you're trying to do the best for your organization, blah, 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 you look at Myles, have a truthful conversation. We're not going to be where you want us to be in the next couple years. We're going to go ahead and trade you.
It's going to have to be it. And there's your full-blown rebuild. And that's, you're right, the uncomfortable truth that maybe that actually is the best path. Ryan, you finally got to me. Here we are. Maybe it is actually the right thing to do. Is this offseason completely tear it down? That's trading Myles. That's trading Denzel Ward. That's letting Nick Chubb leave. And at that point, you better draft a quarterback. You better draft one and put all your eggs in the basket, and we'll try to build this up over the next couple of years. Because you're right. It's not just about 2025 anymore. It's about the future. And what okay, the other part of this is they could go find somebody. It could be Kirk Cousins. It could be Justin Fields. It could be Jalen Milroe. It could be Jackson Dart. And they come in here and they do provide you what you need. They do provide you a quarterback to take you to the playoffs. We got to keep that door open too. And that's the balance of sitting here trying to tear it down or not. Let's hear from Myles. We cut it. I want everybody to hear what Myles had to say on Friday. So again, this was not like he sat down. He's like, I got to get this off my chest. It was a good line of questioning for Mary Kay and Daryl and everybody else out there to get him to open up this way. Here's Myles Garrett, clip number 1, just talking about things with the Browns.
First of all, I want to win. And I want the Browns to be able to put me and us in position to win. And I'm not trying to rebuild. I'm trying to win right now. And I want that to be apparent when the season's over and we have those discussions. I want them to be able to illuminate that for me, illustrate that for me, so that can be something that I can see in the near future. Because that's all we want to do. I want to stay loyal to a team that show loyalty to me and faith in me by drafting me. But, we have to do, at the end of the day, what's best for us.
That's the best for Myles is not getting paid. It's not winning DPOY. He's done all of that. The best for Myles is to win. And the thing is, the Browns would be lying to him if they sat down with him in a meeting in a couple of weeks and guaranteed him that they were going to win, because they can't. Yeah, the path that they have chosen at this point, you don't see any hope there. You can deviate from that path. There's no guarantee you're still going to win. But what Myles is getting to, I know what this looks like right now. And I know this doesn't work. So we're going to try something else here. And if you're not going to try something else, then it's time for me to go. But the trying something else inevitably is what? Rebuilding. When you move off a quarterback in the NFL, that is a rebuild. There's a few small examples of Aaron Rodgers Brett Favre to Rodgers to Jordan Love. There's Alex Smith going right into Patrick Mahomes, right? The vast majority of quarterback changes in the NFL are a rebuild. And that's to what level is a sliding scale. But Myles, there is a rebuild coming. And I hate to tell you that. Now, what he wants is some idea of what the right path is. Because this is inevitably getting to what? Myles has an idea of what it should be. He has an idea in his head of what he would like to see. And the question is, are the Browns going to align with that? And then the biggest crux of all of it is it going to work? The best laid plans, right? He's got something in his head of what he wants to see. They could give that to him and it could still go belly up. That's the worst part of all of this. There's no guarantees in any of it.
I mean, dude, you're Myles Garrett. You're the best player.
What does Myles want? What does he want? I'm sure. Let's try. What does Myles want? I'll do this. Play clip 2.
Right.
Play clip 2, because he did talk about it. Because the one thing it's all inevitably circling is the quarterback. Here's clip 2 from Myles on Friday, audio courtesy of the Browns.
If we have that, alignment where, this is something that is still possible in the near future, winning, going deep in the playoffs, putting a great defense out there, having a time of possession, running game offense, getting all the guys back, and I think that would really keep my mind at rest, keep me settled, and not just mine. A lot of the guys on the defense, the D line, around the team, but we have to continue to take strides forward. Not just as players, but from top down.
What was he struggling to not say?
Deshaun Watson.
Quarterback. He was struggling so hard to not say quarterback and Deshaun Watson. And he struggled. He's talking about the defense. He's talking about this. He's talking about that. He was doing can you play it again? Just that clip. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm not trying to make fun of Myles in this whole thing. Listen to him struggle to not just come out and say quarterback.
If we have that, alignment where, this is something that is still possible in the near future, winning, going deep in the playoffs, putting a great defense out there, having a time of possession, running game offense, getting all the guys back.
Stop right. He's struggling so hard to not say quarterback and to not say Deshaun Watson. He goes to time of possession. He goes to running the ball. I'm not making fun of him. It's a hard spot in every fight. In like that situation, like don't say it, don't say it, don't say it. He's sitting up there with the cameras rolling, with the recorders going, sitting there in his head saying, "Don't say quarterback, don't say quarterback, don't say quarterback," because he knows that's what it is.
And you know what? I just thought of too. Here's an interesting part of this too. Myles Garrett. I mean, we could talk all day long. The best defensive player in football, one of the best Cleveland Browns ever to put on the uniform. He's watching. You take, for example, the Bengals and the Ravens, right? Two teams that he plays twice a year elite quarterbacks, game-changing, franchise-changing quarterbacks.
He's got to watch Joe Burrow make those plays yesterday.
One has been to a Super Bowl. One's been a perennial playoff, 2-time MVP in Lamar Jackson. He sees that's what it takes to get there, but then vice versa, even so, you look at a team with the Steelers who have been able to been consistently great with average quarterback play. They find a way. They don't spend more money than the Browns, right? No. So if you're Myles, how much do you look at the Browns and say, wow, this is a cultural issue. This is a front office issue. They can never get it right, regardless if you have a talented quarterback or not. That's got to be what's going through his head.
Sure, and that's where he's talking about, where you struggling to talk about the defense. Myles, the defense is actually solid, right? There's a world that the offensive line is solid. We're not that far removed from having good pieces. They're still kind of there. You just missed on the quarterback. And inevitably, it's going to come back to how much time you have to pay to fix this. Because we've talked a lot. There is no quick fix. There's nothing that you can do to erase the Deshaun Watson thing, to fix it right away. You've got to pay this with time, right? Inevitably, what's that old saying? Time is the greatest currency because you can't get it back. And you also can't buy more of it. The Browns, here I'm waxing poetic on you today. Like, they would pay any god amount of money to speed up the next 2 years. To speed up who the quarterback might be, or who you draft, or like to put Myles Garrett in suspended animation for 2 years and then bring him out and he's still 28 years old in 2 years and he's still that good. You would love that. You can't do that. So when you ask yourself, truthfully, are the Browns going to fix this and be competitive while Myles Garrett is still here?
No.
Then he won't be playing for this team moving forward.
And all we do is we constantly pussyfoot around and dance around this grand idea, which isn't really grand. It's not rocket science. Let's call it for what it is. In this new generation of quarterbacks, offensive, how great athletes are even coming out of college now as rookies, as we see in cases. You need a Josh Allen. You need a Joe Burrow. Yeah. You need a Lamar Jackson. And even the teams that we talk about, the Steelers, who are always competitive and have such a great culture, well, what do they have to show for it? Not a playoff win since, 2016? It's great, and it's fun when you go to the playoffs, and we want to be there. But what do we want? We want a championship, and until you get a Josh Allen, and they're a dime a dozen. They're not a dime a dozen. I get it. But at some point, you just got to realize you're doing nothing but running against the wind.
Yeah, that's it. And again, what are all those guys? They're drafted guys. I can make the case that you're never going to solve this until you very specifically draft a franchise quarterback, right? We can talk about that bridge. Myles probably didn't want to stick around for a bridge, right? The options of fixing this. Here's a good and bad problem. You ready for this? There is only one solution to your problem, and that is to draft a franchise quarterback. So it's good because all the rest of that stuff is meaningless. Until you do that, you're pissing in the wind, as we talk about on this show. The problem is that's not easy to do. It's not like you get 17 draft picks to try to find one guy. You get one crack at it every year, and Ryan, lo and behold, we have the 5th pick in a draft that there's only 2 guys coming up, and they might not either one be the answer.
Yeah, wow. So,
there's your other, that's the other roll of the dice on this whole thing.
You'll look at it, right? You're sitting 5 in the draft now, and if you're Jimmy Haslam, if you're Andrew Berry and you're giving him this pick of the draft, and he's looking to save his job, are you really taking a quarterback like a Jalen Milroe that you think could somehow have this small chance of being the savior? But then if you take a Mason Graham, a Travis Hunter, who's ever available there, are you just signaling you're going to be bad the next couple of years regardless? None of those players are going to transcend your roster. So then do you just trade Myles Garrett? Do you take a chance on a Jalen Milroe to save Myles Garrett being in Cleveland possibly? But then at that point, it's like, okay, that doesn't work out. Bye-bye Andrew Berry. Bye-bye Kevin Stefanski. Bye-bye everybody. And you're on a full-blown rebuild.
Yeah, absolutely. And, do you even want to at this point? Because let's just go down the path real quick that they decide they're trading Myles Garrett this offseason. And you would get multiple first-round picks for him to get them in this draft for what? you had better damn well be sure that Cam Ward's the right guy. Pull up that draft order. You don't have to pull it up on the show if you want, but pull it up so I can see it again. There it is. All right, New York, number one, controls their own destiny. They're taking a quarterback, okay? So the two teams right now, there's three teams ahead of you outside of New York, right? It's the Patriots, it's the Jags, it's the Titans. The good news is two of those teams are not going to take a quarterback. So there is a trade option for them to go up and get Cam Ward. And again, I like Cam Ward, and I'm maybe starting to open my mind a little bit that he might be there. But there's also a world, Ryan, could you get up to 2? Could you, if you're at 5, do you think you could get up to 2 to take Cam Ward with the Patriots? Now, the Patriots have to be giving up on who? Travis Hunter. Maybe the Jags are a better option there at 3. This mock that you have up, they take Mason Graham at 3.
Yeah.
Let the Browns get up to 3, take him and say, well, Mason Graham should probably still be there for you at 5, and throw a future one. I don't know, right? Like, they could do that and not trade Myles Garrett away. But the thing is, you would trade him for what? Assets in a draft that doesn't seem to be all that good. What's that do for you? That's the other kick to the boys in this whole thing right now. This is not some draft with 6 quarterbacks coming. Dude, if it was even last year's draft, look at the run that we've had the last 4 years of quarterbacks. And you wasted it because you gave away your picks. And now you're stuck in this draft where, again, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, they might be Hall of Famers. Jalen Milroe might be Hall of Famer. I have no idea. But think about it. Last year, you'd have been sitting prime for McCarthy, for Drake. Well, I say Drake May, you would have gone. But, like, you would have McCarthy, you would have had Bo Nix, you would have had all these other guys sitting there, and you just had to make the pick.
You know who the Titans play next week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. They got the Jags, buddy.
Somebody has to win.
I know. It's actually sitting pretty good right now that you can get up to 3.
So we should be Titan fans.
Either one.
Well, no.
Well, no, you want the Titans because they're going to take a quarterback.
Yeah. Wow.
And we got Miami.
Cam Ward to the Browns could be hinging on this game.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's also the games to be played about, Cincinnati's trying to make it. If Kansas City doesn't have the number 1 seed locked up, they need a lot. Like, there is a lot of drama on these last 2 games for several teams.
If the Titans, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but just the way this looks, if the Titans win this game and nobody trades up, you're getting Cam Ward.
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Probably.
Wow.
And then that would, honestly, then I'm back on board with that, and maybe that saves Myles. And there you go. And I was never in favor of tanking. I want to win games to keep the culture together. But now the culture might only be fixed by tanking. Maybe we're finally there. I've always won that losing begot's losing, right? You're going to start that ball down the hill. That's a tough one to stop. But if you're telling me if I lose Sunday and the Titans somehow beat the Jags and I can get Cam Ward maybe?
Oh, we're losing Sunday.
Well, probably, yeah. Starting DTR again. Probably looking at that.
I didn't realize how close we were to Cam Ward.
It's there.
Oh, that's the move.
It's there.
That's
That's 100% the move. I would love that. But you still got to play it out. All right, we got to do good, bad, and the ugly. We'll go around the league. We got to talk some Ohio State. All those Tennessee fans getting in their car, driving home Saturday night. We got it all for you, but we got to tell you about our great friends at Fairway Ford. FairwayFordOhio.com. One of the busiest travel weeks of the year. And it's so funny, this weekend we were everywhere. Can I shout out real quick Puritas Nursery over by us on the west side? They set up a train display in their greenhouse. It's free. We dropped a donation off to thank them for it. Kids had a ball, right? But I think about it, getting the kids in the car. And I got a Ford Explorer. It is, thank God, I didn't think about this. We got the leather seats. Dude, these kids getting in with their snowy boots all over the back seat. I got the floor mats in there. It's perfect. We feel safe in that vehicle. It's 4-wheel drive. It's got the heat in the second row there. We got, a lot of the new ones have the captain's chairs. We wanted the bench seat. We got that in that Explorer. You're going to be driving around this holiday season. You need that safe vehicle. You need it for your family. Go to Fairway Ford. And I understand, new vehicle might not be in the cards for you. Go check their pre-owned lot. And I'm telling you, they have money off. They have so many things. Christmas sales going on for the F-150s. Those rates as low as 1.9% for the 60 months. No payments for 90 days if you need it. They are going to work with you. They're going to find you that vehicle that you need. And I think about that change, as life goes on. Maybe you're a commuter and you're driving a lot. You need good gas mileage. Think about some of the hybrids out there. They have so many different types of vehicles for you. They're going to find the one, and then you get everything else that Fairway Ford stands for. Great deals, sometimes even at the detriment of the dealership, which is good for you. Good rates, good customer service, excellent service. I mean, how many times do you go and you buy something, you buy a lemon? Trust me, folks, they do not do that at Fairway Ford.
I don't understand that metaphor.
Do you buy a lemon? You've never heard of lemon before as a car?
No.
I don't know the behind it. I don't know the meaning behind it. A lemon is a vehicle that turns out to have several manufacturing issues after you get it. So, like, imagine you ever see Matilda?
No.
So her dad was a used car salesman, right? And a bumper fell off the car, and he just glued it back on. And Matilda goes, Dad, is that safe? And he goes, don't really care, right? So, like, you take the test drive, everything sounds great, everything drives great. 2 weeks later, your air conditioning goes out, you got the check engine light, tires going flat. None of that. That's a lemon. You ain't getting one at Fairway Ford. I will put my name on that. You ain't getting a lemon there at Fairway Ford. You're going to get an amazing deal with a good vehicle. That's all you can ask for. 20 years, family owned and operated, a veteran sales staff. And again, they're the largest Ford truck dealership in the state of Ohio. Do you think they're doing things bad over there, being the largest Ford truck dealership in the state of Ohio? They have people coming in from all over the state. They have people coming in from out of state. They're the largest in the Pittsburgh region, too. You think they do that by screwing people over? Absolutely not. Not at all. You're going to get a good vehicle there. I guarantee it. So you're going to be driving around, sitting there going, man, I'm done with this one. Get after the holiday season. Christmas sales going on. But I'll tell you this, even if you miss it, they still have deals all year long. And just go to their website, and you'll see thousands off. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 off MSRP. The one to really watch right now, the demos. They got a lot of demo vehicles. Dude, these things got 7,000 miles on them, if that. You'll be getting money off that. It's like a brand new car. Go check them out. FairwayFordOhio.com. Tell them we sent you, and they wish you and yours a very happy holiday season from our friends at Fairway Ford. All right, before we get to the Buckeyes, let's do it. Let's go. Good, bad, and the ugly. Let's go. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I will start by saying, Ryan, there is some good on this list.
I didn't see your tweet, by the way. So
You
this is all-
didn't?
this is all
Okay.
new to me.
Number one, good. Joe Burrow.
Okay. He was down.
I know.
Let's be real.
But the other one that he did late, like, that guy is a magician. He's a magician.
The way he climbs the pocket so effortlessly is just amazing.
That's one of my marks for the quarterbacks. Dude, you got to have somebody tall, man, because he climbs the pocket but keeps his eyes down the field. He's a magician, and you don't just create that. And I think it's, to go off on a tangent for a second about finding a quarterback, I know that these scouts will look at arm talents. He's got a live arm is what they always like to say. And move in the pocket, and you can look at, he can make all these throws and all that kind of stuff. There's a tangible thing with quarterbacks that you can't quantify, and that's how they play the game. And I see guys like Mahomes and like Lamar. They have a feel for the game. They have it. And it doesn't mean that they don't get burned. Doesn't mean that they don't throw interceptions. But at the end of the day, I need a quarterback that you got to learn that. You got to cultivate that. You've got to be in NFL games. A feel. What I think Deshaun Watson lost more than anything was a feel for his game. I know he can still make throws, okay? I could put a target right over there. I got a vending machine 20 feet away from me. Deshaun Watson could hit that with a football. That's not what I'm talking about. He lost a feel for the game. The elite guys know how to play the game. Sometimes the off script, but they just have a feel for it. And Burrow might have it better than anybody right now, and that's why he's playing the way he is. Now, throwing to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase doesn't hurt. I always screw this guy's name up, and I said I was going to get it right.
Let's see it. Let's see it if you get it right.
It's not Avachier. It's Yoshiva.
Yeah, no.
Yes, got it. Yoshiva. That's
Boss.
Yoshivas. Joe Burrow's got a feel for the game. He is absolutely 100% good. Jerome Ford. All right, he rips off that nice run. I've been critical. He's fine as a rotation back for next year, but I thought Jerome Ford had some nice carries yesterday, a couple nice impactful plays. Also on the good, defense. I mean, again, outside of that 99-yard drive, which has to be a part of this picture, they got off the field on third down. They made life living hell for Joe Burrow at times. Myles Garrett is in Joe Burrow's head, by the way, 100%. And I thought, again, Jordan Hicks made some plays. Grant Delpit had a nice stick. Defense was all right. And I think it's calmed a few things down for me, like as far as Jim Schwartz goes on the up and down. But also it was a game that they were back out on the field a lot. You know, and I go back to, you know, the Pittsburgh game where they were just back out there every 3 minutes. You know, they couldn't sustain that. The defense, I'm not willing to tear that down. I see some moments. I see some guys that I think could fix. I thought the defense was good. And the final good for me was I saw an effort. You know, when I'm sitting here so concerned about if these guys are going to keep playing, you know, everybody's throwing bouquets at Mike McCarthy now after their win last night for Dallas. I see a team that keeps
throwing bouquets to Mike McCarthy.
They're this morning. They were all like, man, look at him fight and look at this team, and they still fight for him and all that. Like, there's something to be said. And I did see a team putting forth max effort on that. I'll sprinkle that aside too. I saw some things from Ken Dorsey I liked. There were some wrinkles. They threw a lot of freaking screens yesterday, but some of them worked. I saw some elements. I saw a team that hadn't given up. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry to say that's where I'm at. All right, to the bad. We're done with Dustin Hopkins here. That's it. And I'm sorry that it has gotten to the point that it has. And Tony Grossi talked about this, a story that I don't think a lot of people know. His family is in Nashville, and he has a child that is on the spectrum. How hard that must be as a father to be away from that, to be away from your family, and then things start going bad at work too. I'm extremely sympathetic for that. And I tell you this, I feel really bad that we're at where we're at with Dustin Hopkins, but you're going to have to go find somebody else. And they gave him contracts and they gave him guaranteed money. The week off didn't do anything. Kicking is so mental. And you saw what? Cade York, who's back on an upswing a little bit, freaking ace of 58-yard.
59.
Watch freaking Brandon Aubrey. Holy God.
Yeah,
find that guy. Just go find that guy. Go find somebody like that. Kickers, there's going to be 1,000 of them you can draft. Just don't draft Jaden Fielding. Draft whoever you want.
No, don't draft a kicker.
No, I should say draft one. Find one, I guess is where I'm at. Find one when you can. Bad was DTR, and I said I guess. You know, what do you expect? Had some nice plays, had some nice runs. I want to see him just open it up a little bit. Like, I felt like he played so timid. And we played the clips from him last week where it sounded like he had 1,000 voices in his head, right? Remember when he's like, I got to get out into the huddle. I got to make sure the play calls are right. I got to make sure I don't turn the football over, play clock. He had too much going on. And what I would do, obviously, I wanted him to do it yesterday. They didn't. Just let him go out there and just play a backyard type of game. Go play college ball.
Hey, but listen, that's the life of a quarterback. You gotta be able to handle it.
Yeah, 100%. The penalties, again, it's just like the you know, and I think he said, he goes, I don't think we had any pre-snap motion penalties. Oh, great. Good job, you know. Like, just when you can't afford to have them anymore, it's just the timeliness of the penalties that I think hurt the Browns. And the turnovers didn't stop. I know all those interceptions were not necessarily his fault, but it is what it is. The ugly, that Foreman fumble, can't have that. I know they benched him right after that. He didn't play another snap. Why? And I'm going to try to keep this on the rails here. Why did you give him that carry? And they're going to say he's the bigger bodied back. It was short yardage. He's not played football in a month. And I get that if he scores that touchdown, we're singing a different tune today. But
he didn't.
And it was a great play by the Bengals defense, and they punched it on out. It killed the game. It just absolutely killed the game. 100% on that opening drive. Because you want to know what else the Browns felt like? Because we all felt the same thing. You ain't even going to get back down there again. There's no way that you're going to score again on this team. You got down there with the long run, and you just felt like you were never going to see the end zone again. And that's just what killed the momentum. Can't have that. Cannot do it. And the final ugly is putting chili on noodles because it's disgusting, and I can't have it.
Come on.
Can't have it.
Again.
Can't have
I thought
it.
you were going to have something else.
Can't have it. What else, Ryan? We don't do this very often on the good, the bad, and the ugly. You tell me. Good. Something I didn't mention.
The good.
Yeah, give me a good.
Cincy or in general?
In general, the good, the bad, and the ugly from the game. Tell me something I didn't put.
Oh God.
Good.
Put me on the spot.
Jamar
here.
Chase.
Yeah, but I'm not going to put him in the good.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. You know how much I hate the Bengals.
Yep. All right, bad.
Jermaine Ifedi.
Okay.
Bad.
Yeah.
Need
bad.
a left tackle.
Yep. Bad.
So bad.
Bad. Ugly. Selling TVs.
Selling
From your
TVs. Every city's got a bunch of homeless people, but boy, does Cincinnati have a slew of those.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of ugly.
Lot of
ugly.
lot
Everything
of-
but the university.
Lot of ugly. All right, it was not ugly on Saturday for the Buckeyes. Done and done. Took care of it. Tennessee got hurt. Nothing. And that was a good game for Ohio State to get right back on track. Now everybody is freaking out about the college football playoff right now. And this clip from Kirk Herbstreit, last night with Linda Cohn that's going around and all that. The committee failed. The committee failed. And
I can't buy this nonsense. What did you want them to do? They told you in the beginning of the year, we're trying out this new format. We're putting an emphasis on conference buys. Now, maybe that was a mistake. Of course, I agree.
Sure.
No world, shape, or form should Boise State and Arizona State have a bye. I get that. But what did you want them to do? You knew that was the format going in. That's not their fault. Alabama got blown out by 6-6 Oklahoma and lost to Vanderbilt. What did you want them to do? And just for a second, maybe let's just think, is it possible, I want your opinion, that maybe Penn State had a really good day and SMU had a really bad day?
very possible. Did Indiana really deserve to be on that field?
Okay, did Alabama deserve to be on that field?
Maybe it's too many. Maybe, we all wanted 12. They're going to be at 16 before we know it. Maybe it's too many. They have got to can we start, and maybe we're not in the same place. Can we start, do you think that it's broken? Do you think that it needs fixing? Are you okay with how the college football play? Because I will understand where you're coming from. This was the first year. And this committee is going to fix things and learn things, right?
The reason that it's broken the most, and there are multiple, but I think a lot of it could get fixed is, and we've talked about this, they've thrown out the idea of reseeding in the second round.
Yes, I agree with you.
I get you're trying to let teams in for a chance that normally wouldn't get the chance. Your Boise States, your Arizona States, blah, 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 SMUs. But it is unfortunate, like Oregon is penalized. They probably have the worst second round matchup. The Buckeyes are probably the best team to advance out of that first round.
Yeah.
And Oregon's penalized. They were the best team. They haven't lost all year. They have the hardest matchup. That's the issue that I take that I would understand if you're frustrated about, especially if you're an Oregon fan. But that could be fixed with the reseeding. Like if Oregon was able to play, let's see here, Penn State.
Well, but you'd have to think about
but
Boise's still there. Again, you're not going to reseed where the buys don't count. But yeah, there would be Ohio State. So the teams you're waiting is, Georgia, Oregon, Boise State, Arizona State, right? Those are the teams that are left.
Yes.
So Ohio State would probably play Arizona State. Boise State would probably play Notre Dame. No, they play Texas. Then Notre Dame would probably play Georgia, and Penn State gets Oregon. But you're also then setting up what? I think a lot of butt whoopings. And that's what you got in the first round.
Welcome to college football,
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why maybe it's too many. Maybe it's too many again. Now, we all sat down and just gorged ourselves on football Friday night and all day of Saturday. It was glorious. But again, look at the ratings. A lot more people tune into the NFL. More football isn't always good football. More is not always good in this situation, right? They put all these eggs in this basket, and you're right. Maybe Indiana didn't really show up, or maybe just SMU. Deep down, we all know they probably didn't deserve to be there. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. I don't think Arizona State and Boise State deserve to be there either. And we'll find that out next Wednesday. But No, go ahead. What?
No, it's just more. I'm piling on to the unfairness of college football. That's all it is. It's all it is. When you have an Arizona State program that doesn't get the NIL funding an Oregon and Ohio State does, they can't compete with the transfers and the recruiting. Then why are they even in the same division as an Ohio State? Then completely mix it up.
Well, then they're always going to say, well, they got to play the games, right? And there's a world that Ohio State could get upset by one of those teams or whatever. But I agree. I think the reseeding would fix a lot of these problems. And it would be a better product to watch, I guess, to a point. Because, again, you're signing up for just kind of more butt wounds. I'm saying this as an Ohio State fan that wants to go win a national championship, and I'm upset that, I'll just put it this way. The three, and this is without a doubt fact, that the three best teams are on the same side of the bracket, and two of the three play each other next week. However you want to, Oregon is clearly number one. Whether you want to put Texas 2 and Ohio State 3 or flip-flop those two, I don't really care. That is the miss. That the three best teams that we all want to see are on the same side of it. They're fat on the one side of it, then the other side is lacking. And go look at the TV ratings and tell me the same exact thing. Everybody thinks the same thing's going to happen.
Whatever, though. But I mean, that's every single sport. You have a year where one conference is usually way better than the others. I mean, go look at the NBA. The East was a joke last year. It's sports. It's how it goes. And I'm so sick of the bitching and the moaning about it when there's arguments for both sides. Yeah, the system's broken, but let's not pretend that these games were horrible. Yes, the score was bad, but I can't get behind the fact that you can
tried
say
to come back on Texas
to be there.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works.
I know. And it's different depending on who you root for, too, right? Again, pandering to Ohio State and Oregon and Texas fans, you're never going to suffice them because they just want buys to the national championship. Then there are other teams sitting there saying, yeah, we're happy to be included. And then there's people out there that don't have their team in the college football playoff and they just want to watch good games. Well, you didn't really get those this past weekend. You can't make everybody happy. I get what you're saying. There's no way to make this a completely equal, fair, everybody loves the system. There's no way to do that until they make some changes. But it's just, I hope they apply what they learned here. Because they learned something. Going through the first time, without a doubt, they learned about the seeding. They learned about this bracket. I just need them to apply that to next season and fix some of the issues.
So, okay. Talk me through, what do you think the committee learned from that first round of games?
Do not honor these teams for these wins. I'll put it this way. The number of wins counts. You need to put stock into quality of wins. And I will say the same thing on the other side. Put the quality of losses in there too.
So then
Ohio State losing to Michigan should have bumped them down, and it did. But if I go look at Boise State's schedule, Ryan, what's their best win? I don't even know.
They only lost Oregon by 3.
Okay, fine. They beat a UNLV squad that was 24th twice. They literally beat UNLV twice when they were 24th. That's it. And they lost to Oregon by 3. Where is your quality? Now, again, one of the things that I think is broken is the buys to the conference teams, and I think that's going to get fixed pretty quick. Not necessarily next year. Everybody says there's nothing to do to fix next year. Next year is what it is. All right? You need to look at quality of wins and losses. Because the essence of the question is, are you trying to put the best 12 teams out there or the most deserving 12 teams out there? Those sometimes are different things. Is Alabama a better team than Indiana? Yeah. I understand. Who deserved to be there more? The Hoosiers, and that's why they were there.
I understand, and you're probably 100% right that Alabama is a better team than Indiana. But who am I to say that's true?
Yeah, that's why they say, well, got to play the games. Got to see how it plays out. The deserving versus best. Are you putting the 12 out there that deserve to be there, or are you putting the 12 best? I want the 12 best. That's what I want. And all you're going to do is further that gap between the haves and the have-nots. Because the ones that deserve there inevitably come from what? The Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, and here's how you fix that, and it's easier said than done. Dissolve the conferences.
That's eventually probably going to happen too. To the Tennessee fans that invaded Columbus, I was actually impressed. There was a lot more there than I thought there was going to be.
A lot of Rocky Top going on.
A lot of going on. And I think that fueled Ohio State. For everybody who's sitting there saying, don't sell your tickets to Tennessee fans, we don't want them here. I think that good and pissed off Ohio State. If that's what they needed to wake the hell up, good. Great. Awesome. That's what they needed to have happen. And it worked out. Will Howard, highest graded quarterback from these games this past weekend.
Yeah,
low bar. Low bar.
That was, I will say, that was the best I've seen Will Howard play.
He played well. Jeremiah Smith played well. Offensive line was fine. Defense got the stops. That was exactly what Ohio State needed. That was exactly what they needed out of that game. I think everything was cooking. And they're going to feel really good. And they're going to feel that, that sense of getting revenge there on Oregon. That's all we can ask for. That's it. So I think it fixed a lot of problems for Ohio State on that game as well. Other than that, I really enjoyed the Notre Dame Indiana game just because of the ambiance, the Friday night, all that. I had nothing that I wanted to spend watching Indiana play. Penn State. That game was bad.
Yeah, it was bad. It was.
SMU Penn State was trash. And then I didn't even watch Texas Clemson because I was on the NFL.
I think Kurt Cignetti is going to be the next James Franklin.
Sure.
A very annoying coach who thinks
with
the
no
program
substance.
belongs. Yes.
No substance. Yeah. No, I agree with you. All right. I thought about this. Do you want to just rip through comments? You got some comments on YouTube. I got some tweets.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, here we go. My tweets. I think Myles was sending a message publicly to the front office that not only do the fans want to see significant improvement and not a complete rebuild, but the locker room feels the same way. And he agrees with you. Myles saying it directly, he doesn't want Ford as the team's quarterback for even one more snap. And I agree. Yeah, that's exactly it. And if that message needs to be sent to know like that's where I stand, then that can maybe sway the Browns a little bit. I don't think it matters very much. YouTube comments?
Yeah. We got some Ohio State garbage. That's an interesting.
Yeah, thanks. Max?
Max.
Sorry, Max.
Happy as heck. Myles has spoken out. Haslam doesn't listen to us. Maybe he'll just listen to Myles.
Can I stop on that comment right there? You're right. You're right. For all the people that wrote their I'm done with season tickets and put it on social media, and even what Myles said, the uncomfortable truth is it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. And I get that it could give the Browns a little fear here for a quick second, and it might try to accelerate some of the things that they're trying to do. It unfortunately really doesn't matter. Sucks.
Soul Train says Jalen Milrose athletic. Feels like he's someone you have to sit for at least half a season.
Hey, man, I'll do that. That's fine.
Glenn wants to know what you think about the Josh Naylor trade.
Oh, my gosh. We didn't even talk about that. I didn't even think about it. Oh, my. Where were we? We were at Christmas lights with our family. And my wife's like, why are you? I'm like, they just traded Josh Naylor. And then freaking Carlos Santana coming back again for the 100th time.
Yeah, man.
They were always going to trade Naylor. Listen, I like Josh Naylor a lot. I sent that tweet out. He had some massive home runs for my team. I'll forever thank him for that. I really think his career just got derailed with that ankle injury. And it was a horrific injury. Yeah, it's going to be really hard to find 30 home runs and 100 RBIs. I think you saw the best of what you had with Josh Naylor.
It's all about what you do in the postseason.
And then that's it. And they got that guy that throws 98, and he's going to get a little work.
Sick name, like Slade.
Slade, yeah, Slade, yeah. They can work with him a little bit. You revamped your starting rotation maybe a little bit. Not surprised in the least. And I wish Josh nothing but the best. I feel bad for Bo. That's got to be so heartbreaking for your brother to get traded away and all that.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know you're not a big Naylor fan either.
Not even that. You're making millions of dollars. Cry me a river.
That's fine. But yeah, I mean, again, I sit here and I'm just
I'll see him at Christmas.
It is what it is. They live together. They live in Arizona. That's where he's going. So works out for everybody. All right, we'll get to that. I want to do the We're on the League instead of the morning update because we're our only show till Friday. Do not let me forget. We got to pick Christmas and Thursday night games.
Okay.
Because we're going to be off the next 3 days. So we got to do all that. Let's go around the league, run through that. We'll do the grid for some fun today as well. We'll get you going for the holiday week as well. Wrap some other things up. Plenty to come. Go around the league. Stay with us. Fontana Show right here in Big Greg, presented by Fairway Ford.
The Big Play Sports Network. Download the free app today to watch all of your favorite hosts on demand.
I'm Garage Beer, and this is Bobby Carpenter.
Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
Beef with an F? Okay, my bad. It's crisp and cool, and it doesn't taste like... I'm Bobby Carpenter. I drink in garages, because my wife says I don't belong inside. If you like a cold breeze on your bag, drink Garage Beer. It's American, and so can you. Garage Beer. Beer-flavored beer.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby as Authentic takes them around the far turn. Tis the Laws making his move now, and they're into the stretch. These two stride for stride. Authentic, tis the Law. Here's the wire. Authentic has won the Kentucky Derby.
I would like to see the Guardians re-sign Shane Bieber. I think he'd give them a franchise-friendly contract because his market value has diminished so much following the surgery. He's not going to be able to demand the kind of money on the free agent market that he would have before the injury. So I'd like to see us keep him, even if he's not ready to start the regular season. Be a couple of months in. I'd like to see us keep Matthew Boyd. Veteran presence. Did a fabulous job for us. Great pickup by Antonetti and Chernoff.
All right, let's hit it. Week 16. Almost in the book. So we got a lot to get to. Welcome back. Fontana Show right here on Big Play. Streaming. I'm at Fontana Show. YouTube Big Play. Instagram Big Play. Big Play app. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run through all the games, go through our picks, recap the games. Then we got to pick Monday night. Then we got to do Christmas Day and Thursday Night Football. We'll be back on Friday. So we'll have the full weekend there. So do not... All right. 15 games on the docket. Let's go, Ryan. We start. Freaking Kansas City, man. They do it again. They beat the Texans. They cover that 3.5. I took Houston. You took Kansas City. Ryan, oh, you want the overall records too, by the way?
Yeah.
We had 15 games last week so far. I went 6-8-1. Ryan, 9-4-1.
There we go.
Wow.
I should be
Wait,
10.
that math
I don't know
isn't math.
Why I picked
No,
Philadelphia.
14, right? Oh, and the one and the push. I'm sorry. We're right. We're right on. 9-4-1 for Ryan a week ago. Run out of time too, so we better get after this. All right. I lost in Houston, won on KC. Obviously, that Tank Dell injury, I think, just changed that whole game. Texans just were not in it after that. And Mahomes and the Chiefs just keep finding ways to get it done. I think the interesting thing is when they're able to run the ball the way that they were. You know, Mahomes ran one in, but even with Kareem Hunt, they can beat you in a lot of different ways. And the story, they had that graphic of where for like a good chunk of Patrick Mahomes' career, they were number one in offense, number one on this. Now, he's like middle of the pack. It's the defense that is one of the best in football.
Bro, that's how it was last year.
That's what I'm saying. Like earlier in his career versus the last couple years, it's all this defense. And they got players everywhere, man. Yeah, it certainly starts with Chris Jones. Trent McDuffie is a number one corner. Their linebackers are everywhere making plays. It's the defense. Stroud with a couple interceptions. They stopped the run. And I just really think, again, you know, unfortunately with Tank Dell going down, they got emotional and they just never were able to really recover. I'm not taking anything away from the Chiefs, but that was a really impressive win there.
I'll take away from the Chiefs. Mahomes looking real spry on that high ankle sprain there. On that touchdown run.
Yeah.
Whatever. The Chiefs can keep doing this. I'm telling you, dude. Wait till we get to the playoffs. They're not going to the Super Bowl this year.
Steelers. Phony. Ravens back to the lead in the AFC North 34-17.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
They're back in the hunt.
Thank you.
They're both 10-5.
Steelers have the win.
The Steelers, well, now they've got one each, and then it goes to record in the division or whatever. Lamar with 3 touchdowns in that one. I just, like, Pittsburgh, they can't do anything without George Pickens. They literally cannot do anything without George Pickens. And I know TJ Watt was banged up too, but Lamar made some really nice plays. Scramble, that throw, that touchdown to Mark Andrews was pretty impressive. It's just the Steelers' offense completely inept without George Pickens, which is just crazy. I think they're getting exposed. I think they're getting exposed on offense. And the defense can only do so much when you're facing elite teams. But now that's 2 straight. Now, granted, that's the Ravens and the Eagles that they lost to. But they've opened this door. Now, where do the Steelers sit? They have the Chiefs coming up. Christmas Day. The Chiefs still need wins for the number 1 seed. At least one more. And then they got the Bengals who are going to be fighting for their lives. They're going to the playoffs. Obviously, they clinched. But I don't feel so good about them winning the division anymore.
No, I mean, and that's what we've been saying. The Steelers were never going to go into the playoffs and make noise. They're a good,
Baltimore's got
team.
Texans and then us.
I'm telling you, dude. I mean, you know my futures bet with the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I don't want to root for them, but if it happens to make me money in the process, I'll gladly take it. But I think if Baltimore can avoid Kansas City in the playoffs, then obviously that would mean like Buffalo would have to knock off the Chiefs, which I think is very possible. Then I think the Ravens would beat the Bills, and I think the Ravens would go to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, this is dependent on Lamar Jackson not pooping himself in the playoffs. It's a lot to ask.
Or for Center
But the defense is playing better. You have Derrick Henry, who's playing like one of the best running backs in the league still at his age, which is very impressive. The Ravens are still a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
They're trending in different directions. And we talk a lot about that once you get towards the end of the playoffs. Ravens trending up, Steelers are trending down. And I don't know if it's quite so easy just to say get Pickens back and everything will be just fine and dandy. I don't know about that, but that was pretty eye-opening to me to see what Baltimore was able to do. The Lions are unfreaking stoppable, unless it's Josh Allen. 34-17 over the Bears.
Or
They're
Baker
pulling
Mayfield.
What?
Or Baker Mayfield.
Or Baker Mayfield, I'll give you that. They're pulling Fumble-Rooskies out. And I know losing David Montgomery was not necessarily the best thing for them. Gee, that just means they can give more to Jahmyr Gibbs. He's so good. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the end zone. The Fumble-Rooski to Laporta. 13-2 for the freaking Lions. They're that good. I lost on Chicago because I'm a dumbass. And I just thought for some reason they'd get under that number. Didn't happen. Ryan wins on Detroit. For Chicago, Caleb Williams threw 40 freaking times. They're close. I do think that they're close. It's just the stink of a bad season is unwashable right now. You get the right coach there. I think the Bears might be able to do something a little bit next year. They're just a young football team that's pretty inept right now.
Yeah, Lions, I think, have to be the favorite to go to the Super Bowl. I understand you'd have to go through the Eagles, but I still think they can do it. People talk about the Eagles being the most complete team in football. Sure, whatever. I mean, the Lions are just next man up mentality. I think they're the best team in football right now, but what's going to be interesting is, yes, everybody's going to be going after Ben Johnson. Everybody's probably, I would imagine, Aaron Glenn's going to get interviews. What it reminds me of is the Eagles. They went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Chiefs, lost both Gannon and Shane Steichen. You saw what happened.
We'll talk about them in a second.
So I think the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl. It's got to be this year, and they have a damn good chance. What is that?
Jonathan Gannon. What the was that?
Wow, what a transition. I didn't even mean
Wow. Panthers 36-30 in overtime.
You can't be that
Who's
shocked.
laughing about the Chuba Hubbard deal now?
You can't be that shocked.
I am. Kyler Murray sucks.
All right.
Tell me he doesn't.
All right.
They put up 30. He threw one. He ran one in. What the is and I'm mad because I took Arizona. We both did. That lost them in essence the playoffs. They're 7-8 now. They need a lot of other help. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an Arizona fan. What the fuck was that? And maybe the Panthers are just playing better. I don't think Bryce Young's the answer still, but we'll see. Like, Chuba Hubbard's man possessed. Bro, how do you lose that game? Seriously. How do you lose that football? Wow. And the fact that I guess the Panthers were in it the whole time, I understand it was a long trip. You want to subscribe going all the way from Arizona to Carolina and have to play? I don't know. Good for the Panthers, man. But wow, Arizona, I think, is one of the fakest teams I've ever seen in my life. I mean, maybe this is a problem with me that I put any stock into them. They were going to be good. Arizona's bad. They're going to fire Jonathan Gannon. I would. You can't have that. That is impossible to have that situation. Your playoffs are hanging by a thread, and you lost to now a 4-11 football team. Now, we're all sitting here celebrating, throwing the balloons up because now the Panthers are back out of this whole situation with the draft. That is inexcusable. That is truly inexcusable from the Arizona Cardinals. That's bad. That's really bad. Again, good for Carolina. I guess they knew what they were doing with Chuba Hubbard. Freaking Adam Thielen all of a sudden coming back and having a career resurgence there. Good for Carolina, man. A little spicy for them next year. But if I'm Arizona, I'm really having a tough time trying to keep Jonathan Gannon out there.
Yeah, who'd have thought the Carolina Panthers would finish the season with more wins than the Cleveland Browns this year? But here we are. Good for Carolina.
Here we are. Good for the Commanders. 36-33. They beat the Eagles. We both had Philly as 3.5-point favorites. They lose outright in a game that I thought they had in control. 22 fourth-quarter points from Jaden Daniels, who throws 5 touchdowns to get the win in that one. They had a really interesting article. Remember David Blau, like the former Browns quarterback, backup Purdue guy? He's the assistant quarterback coach in Washington. He's been working some magic with Jaden Daniels and crew. That game stunk of, obviously, okay, it all changed with Jalen Hurts getting hurt, and Pickett had to come in, Pickett had to come in, and that was certainly a flip. But again, Philly, I thought, was going to be able to control the game. They were up 21-7, and they just kind of let it fester, but they just let it slip away to them there. Now all eyes are what they're going to do with Jalen Hurts. He's going to get out of his concussion protocol because they're at 12-3. They're still fighting for that number 1 seed. Without Jalen Hurts, they don't have a prayer.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real chance they get the number 1 seed. They just, I believe, need one more win to clinch that division. That'll probably happen. But I mean, if you're the Commanders, man, that's a game that can really launch your franchise. I mean, you're sitting here with a rookie quarterback who's already exceeded all expectations. You're at home. You're in a competitive race for that division still, although it's going to be the Eagles. You're playing the division leader, the Eagles, and that's a game, if you want to go to that upper echelon of really being a competitive team, going to the playoffs with some momentum and proving that you got something to build on, that's a great win for the Commanders. Great for Jaden Daniels. I would imagine that game probably launches him to be the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Good for him. They look like they found their quarterback for the next 5, hopefully 10 years for them to come, and great job in the first year by Dan Quinn.
And I also think the Commanders are kind of wallowing a little bit. Like, who are we? What are we doing to get that momentum back to go into the playoffs? That was a big win for Dan Quinn and crew. I'll give it to Penix. Really, Drew Lock beat his own team because he threw 2 pick sixes. And I know the one was a batted ball and all that. 34-7. We both took Atlanta. Smart on our parts there. They just take care of it. Giants, I saw, who was it that came out from Giants player, and they're like, just fire everybody. Get rid of it all. They need a hard reset there. I don't know why they're going to keep Brian Dable and Joe. I don't think they will. They're not. They'll have the number 1 pick. They control their own destiny now as long as they lose out. They'll get the number 1 pick. They'll take Shedeur Sanders probably. That's it. I mean, they just suck. They're really bad. All right, for the Falcons, you went to Penix, gives you a lie. Now, you watch what happens last night, and the game is afoot now.
Michael
for the
Penix
NFC South.
will be starting a home playoff game in
that
his
is
rookie year.
Pretty crazy.
That's where the
Good
Falcons are at right now. Good for Penix.
And we didn't talk too much about the Kirk Cousins news. It's the news we all knew, that they're going to cut him. He's got the no trade clause. All that does is open it up that he's going to be on the Cleveland Browns next year. I really think that's going to happen. They've got the connection to Stefanski. It solves some of your problems. And you can get him on a cheap deal because he just made $90 million for 2 years. Here's what you do. Are you ready for this? You go into this offseason, you sign Kirk Cousins to a 2 or 3 year phony deal with void years and money spent up. Give him the money up front, signing bonus, whatever, knowing that he made all that money from Atlanta. You pull the Russell Wilson. We guarantee you will start for us week 1. But we're also going to go draft maybe Cam Ward. And he's going to sit Deshaun Watson, jettison to the abyss. And that's what you do next season for the Cleveland Browns. I really think that's not only the easiest path to go, but I actually think it's the best. And I know people sit there and say Kirk Cousins is washed and he's coming off his own Achilles and all that. It gives you some stability. It gives you just a little bit of stability. I think Cousins has to realize. Now, the whole question is Cousins going to be game for this? To come here, play for a year, and then maybe go start somewhere else? Could he go luck box a team into saying, let me start for you for 3 years? I don't know. But I think that's your path out of this whole thing. But good for Michael Penix. They get it done there. The Colts survived. They beat the Titans 38-30. We both had Indy on the win there. Mason Ruff threw a couple touchdowns. Did Anthony Richardson throw the ball 11 times in that game? Good Lord.
Well, I mean, when Jonathan Taylor's
that's
30 carries,
3 touchdowns.
You don't really need to throw the ball.
He didn't drop any going into the end zone this time.
Not this week.
Actually, I think there's something to be said about a little life from the Titans there. Colts at 7-8 trying to fight their way in, and not much to write home about that game there. And again, all eyes to the Titans for us. As far as where they sit with the draft, we both took Indy in the win there. Rams take care of the Jets. I struggled with that game, remember? I struggled. And they get it done 19-9. Rodgers, nothing again. Rams just did barely enough to get that win. Jets are irreparably broken, and they're going to have to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. You know, the other thing, too, watch Kirk Cousins having to go to New York or something like that. Like, there's going to be competition for him when he's out there and available. I know Rodgers can speak all this about, you know, what he wants to do or see what he's going to do this offseason. He's done. Just retire. It's
Holy
over.
cow. I'm glad we talked about this, bro. Did you see Dan Graziano absolutely rip Aaron Rodgers?
Called him a narcissist.
A con artist.
And one of the most self-absorbed people.
He was speaking his truth.
I mean, and Graziano is in New York. Like, he knows. And that's the thing. Aaron Rodgers probably doesn't care what Dan Graziano has to say. And Aaron Rodgers is an extremely unlikable person. Like, I understand that. And it maybe masks it when he's playing good for your football team and he's a quarterback and all that kind of stuff. But it just seems, you know, and I tell you this, man. In any walk of life, when you got somebody that you just is an unlikable person, just separate. There's no point. Like, it doesn't. I get where Graziano wants to get this off his chest.
Tell that to the Browns,
and it got a
brother.
bunch of clicks and whatever. That's right. Just disassociate yourself. And I don't know what they're gonna do with Deshaun Watson, whatever. But Aaron Rodgers seems like an extremely unlikable person. And now what are they gonna do with Garrett Wilson? Like, there's all these other guys sitting there going, am I going to get paid? Am I going to stick around here? I don't know. We both went on the Rams getting here. Our one push of the weekend was the Vikings. They covered, again, 3 points was what it was. They get the win 27-24. I was actually surprised Geno Smith played as well as he did at home. Some late heroics there, but it's still the Vikings that are just incredible. Justin Jefferson is unstoppable. That touchdown with, 3 minutes to go or whatever it was, to get them the win there. Vikings believe in themselves, which is a very scary team. Seattle, 8-7, still kind of in the picture. The crazy thing is that they just can't run the ball anymore. Like, Walker had nothing going. He was in the pass game, and, you know, Geno is what it is. You're going to live and die by that sword. Geno Smith at home, he's probably not going to win. And that's exactly what happened there. We both get the push on Minnesota there. Patriots gave all they could to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen somehow pulls this one out, 24-21. I know Drake May scored a touchdown late to make it a little bit better, but Allen just struggled mightily in that first half. Cook got in the end zone there. Again, Patriots 3-12. We're keeping our eye on where they're at. They're not taking a quarterback. Something to write home and say, okay, we feel good about this. Buffalo, I just don't think took the Patriots serious, and that's why they got off to the bad start that they did.
Holy cow, I'm just looking at this schedule. Next week, Vikings play the Packers. It's not an easy win. Lions play 49ers. That's not necessarily an easy win either, regardless of how the Niners season has gone. If both they win, then we're going to a Week 18 Lions-Vikings matchup for the #1 seed in the NFC.
Right. Woo! Yeah. And that's, you know, nothing.
Roger Goodell's licking his
Loves it. And that'll be Sunday night. Everybody plays on that Sunday, too. It's going to be, and again, even games this weekend. That's why the NFL loves this, man. I know you have teams that have clinched in some scenarios, but there's a lot of stuff still wide open for some of these teams.
You're looking at a potential 13-win team that has to play a road playoff game.
Yeah.
Unreal.
That's NFC North is that damn good. It is really that good. For Buffalo, I'm not going to read too much into that game just to sit there and say, like, what? You know, I think they took them lightly.
I don't love that, though, for the Bills. I don't love that.
I don't either, and that's just off an emotional high of when they beat the Lions. Like, that was just so big. Probably should have known better. On the 14. And again, I think the Patriots are spicy. Do you think Gerard Mayo's on the hot seat? Because that was the only thing coming out of New England.
Hot seat, yeah. I mean, absolutely. Will he get fired? I don't know. I mean, they just are their lack of so many offensive weapons on that team. You got Drake May, you got Ramondre Stevenson. They're fine. But you got to get some receivers there. And that's where wherever they pick, like Ted McMillan. Go ahead, just write that in. Travis Hunter.
What's that?
Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah, they will be that high.
Draft Travis Hunter, trade for T. Higgins, you're in the money.
I don't think they're going to let T. Higgins go anymore.
Okay, then trade for Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that'd be fun, too. Ooh. That'd be an interesting one there. All right, next up, freaking San Francisco. I should have known. I took them. Ryan took Miami 29-17. They're cooked. Talking about the 49ers. They have so many injuries. There's only so much they can do. They lost Garendo. They don't have McCaffrey. They don't have Jordan Mason. Kittle, Debo, okay, fine. For Miami, though, 7-8, trying to keep this alive, and it looked a little bit like it just Devon Achane left and right. They should probably get rid of Tyreek Hill. Right? Does he still do? I know he had the touchdown. Because you want to know the other thing I thought a lot about? Wouldn't they rather have Jalen Waddle out there? Is Jalen Waddle a bust? Can I ask that question? He's just hurt all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say bust, but I get your point.
Yeah. I took San Fran. You took Miami a win there. All right, Jags fall to the Raiders in that one. They'd hurt the draft position, but there was the story that Mark Davis was in that locker room hugging and kissing everybody and having a good old time. They improved to 3-12. Jacksonville falls to 3-12. Brian Thomas, really freaking good. Anybody else on the Jags? Not very good. Mac Jones, what are you going to do? Aiden O'Connell didn't do anything. Two really bad football teams, and they played that way. I lost on Jacksonville. Ryan got the win on Vegas. Sunday Night Football, we go. What was that? What in the hell was that from Tampa Bay? 26-24. Dallas was in control of that game most of the time. I was really surprised by that. Zeke just stealing that one from Rico Dowdell. And then you lost to Brandon Aubrey, who could kick it from the moon, probably. How much that changes that game, by the way? Nuts. Baker didn't play all that bad, I thought. I fell asleep for the second half, I'm not going to lie. But Dallas was in control of that game. They won because of Brandon Aubrey. Literally, they won that game because of Brandon Aubrey.
Yeah, and
how much you can flip that field and change it. Wow.
People are talking, does this save Mike McCarthy's job?
I think it does.
Hell no.
I think it does.
Hell no.
They still believe. They still
You're
play for
eliminated
him.
from hell to the no. You're eliminated from the playoffs. Injuries be damned. This was your year to go prove it. You can't make it past the divisional round. You didn't even make the playoffs. Get him out of there. I mean, Jerry Jones, go ahead. Keep him. Keep being a joke in Dallas. Doesn't affect us. But to sit here and say that Mike McCarthy deserves to keep his job because they're winning meaningless
whether he deserves it or not, I think he's going to keep it.
Whatever.
All right, so we finish out. I'm 6-8-1 going into Monday Night Football. Ryan 9-4-1 going into Monday Night Football. We'll get our picks on that later. Don't forget, we got to get our other games too. College, we both won on Notre Dame. Both lost on SMU. Both won on Texas. I won on Ohio State. Ryan lost on Tennessee. So we'll get to that. We got to do a Cavs parlay for tonight too. I had a nice little savory Cavs parlay. So round of applause, slow clap for me. Speaking of slow clap.
So we doing the grade?
Yeah, might as well. Might have some fun with it. That was actually something I was going to bring up to you earlier. We'll have a little hint. There's going to be a change coming. Do you think that plays? Do you think it plays?
What do you mean?
On the new venture? I don't know.
I doubt it.
So if it doesn't, I think the answer is no. So it's on borrowed time. So we might as well finish it on out the best that we can. All right, here we go.
We've been on a bit of a heater.
Go.
First team All-Pro.
Got to be Aaron.
Enigma.
You can go Reggie White if you want. Cooper Kupp. Yeah, that guy too. Has Lamar had a first-team All-AP? He's had 2.
2-time MVP.
All right.
Jaguars and the Packers.
Mark Brunell.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Your guy.
My guy.
So, like, are you...
Don't even think about it. Brew. No, not Brew Bell.
I was going to say... Yeah, he's young. He alive, right? He's young. He's still alive.
Yeah.
Just making sure. You never know what can happen. I say, all the time we talk about him, get him on the show.
All right. We should. You're the producer. I hate to put that on you.
I didn't know he was.
All right. Isn't that Jalen Ramsey?
Yeah, that'll play.
All right.
Calais Campbell. Jimmy Graham. Right?
Yep. Baltimore Saints. Is that not Tyrod Taylor?
It's also Mark Ingram.
Oh, and Mark Ingram. Yeah, go Mark Ingram.
That's just ripping through the...
Yeah. Which is good because it's already 36. We still got
And
to come up.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah! Can I tell you something kind of weird? Watching that game last night, Brandon Cooks is kind of jacked. I don't know why. They had this thing. He was in the huddle, and I looked at his arm, and I was like, because you always think about Brandon Cooks like being a speedster guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of jacked, man. Kind of jacked. Good for Brandon Cooks. Done and done. 1:43. New record for us. There you go. All right, let's do time up real quick. Run through it. Got some movies for you. Let's roll. This, I unfortunately think it's going to go. Because it just ain't going to work. It just ain't going to work anymore. But all right, let's run through it. 23rd of December. Here we go. 2 years ago today, the Browns signed Jack Conklin to a 4-year contract extension. Only $31 million guaranteed up to 61. I think it would have worked if he had not just been 2 straight years of getting horribly injured. Oh, wait, because he was injured when they signed him. I'm just going to say this about the Browns offensive line. I'm not just going to write them off. Like, I'm just not going to sit here and instantly say that they're just... I get it. They were hurt. They were not playing all that well with Watson in there. I still think there's some talent there. And you got to see what DeJuan Jones is going to do, whether you're going to slide Zach Zinter back in that. You know, I thought about that too with Myles' comments. I think Joel Bitonio wants to go back through this bull crap too. I still think there's a good offensive line in there. You got to find him. I don't know where they're at, but you got to find him.
With Joel's age and
I think
regarding whether or not he wants
done.
to keep playing, I mean, he understands that, unfortunately, his fate is no playoff football.
No, 100%. All right, this day, 2018, Browns beat the Bengals 26-18. I will ask you, do you remember what was important about this game? 2018 Browns-Bengals.
Yes, I believe this was the game Demarius Randall handed Hugh Jackson the interception.
You're damn right. We had trick plays, big plays out the wazoo, and they hand the football to Hugh Jackson this day, 2018. This day, 2012, Browns lose to Denver 34-12. You want your box score on that today, buddy?
What year?
2012.
Okay, do I get a guess?
Sure. Pull it up here. All right, 2012. This loss sent us to 5-10 on the year. 34-12. Who do you think the starting quarterback for the Browns was?
2012.
Actually, I don't even know who started. 2 guys were in a quarterback for us. For this
was that Colt McCoy?
Colt went 9 out of 17 for a touchdown. Brandon Weeden was also in. I don't know who started. Trent Richardson, your leading rusher. 1,000 credits to him, the Browns' leading receiver. 6 grabs, 58 yards, and a touchdown.
2012. Not Massaquoi.
Nope.
Robisky, no.
Nope. You're on the right path.
Travis Benjamin?
No, he was there. He had 3 for 46, but it wasn't him.
Not Hartline?
No.
Is it a tight end?
No, Ben Watson had 3 for 47, but he was second.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
Parking tickets.
Who had parking tickets?
Greg Little. Remember him?
Yeah, I
got out
did.
of UNC, and they found out later he had thousands of dollars worth of parking tickets while he was on campus.
Don't remember
Greg
that.
Little. All right, Broncos, who was their starting quarterback 2012.
Okay. Was that Peyton Manning?
It was Peyton Manning. Their leading running back, 22 carries, 78 yards.
gosh, who was their running back?
Deep cut. But you know, I think you know who this is, but it's a deep cut.
This was way before Royce Freeman.
It
right?
was.
It wasn't Moreno.
It was. Sean Moreno.
Okay.
Nice. Leading receiver?
Was that Demaryius?
It was. R.I.P. to Demaryius. Jim Leonard, former Cleveland Brown and defensive coordinator, had a fumble recovery in that game for the Browns. Or no, excuse me, for the Denver Broncos. This day 2012. All right, one of the worst signings, I guess, in Guardians history. 4 years, $56 million to Ohio. Nick Swisher signs with the Indians this day 2012.
Wow.
Him and Michael Bourne, man. This day, 1997, Phil Jackson wins his 500th game in just 680. Imagine that. He went 500 and 182.
Yeah, that's nuts.
The fastest in NBA history to reach 500 wins in just 682 games for Phil Jackson, 97.
That's
Greatest
insane.
NBA coach of all time?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I mean, everybody's Red Auerbach or whatever. It's got to be Phil.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think.
I mean, him or Greg.
See, but
Hey, Greg's got the rings.
But he does, and I would say he did it with, and this is relative of, they had talent. But, I mean, he had some just gaudy Bulls teams, Anybody right now you think can get up there?
Well,
see, I'm
Eric Spoelstra. I'm not saying he's in that realm, but when you think about it, yes, rings are the best, but he has 2 rings. 2 rings.
But he did it with a super team. Now, who's the other guy that I'm going to rip into right now?
He did it with the super team, but you had Michael Jordan. We're talking about Phil Jackson, but you're going to talk about you're going to talk about Steve Kerr.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Kerr, because I give him a buttload of credit for winning another one without those guys. And I guarantee you still have Steph Curry as the greatest shooter ever played the game, but I think Kerr's got a chance to do it until Kenny Atkinson gets there one day. The Immaculate Reception, Franco Harris, this day 1972. You see the play, right? Bounces off, he picks it off, he runs it in. The Immaculate Reception. Vincent Van Gogh cut off his ear this day 1888.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but he did. This day 1783, George Washington resigned as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army.
Nice.
1783. Very happy birthday goes out to Roberto Perez, Hanley Ramirez, Browns linebacker Andra Davis, not Andre Davis, but Andra Davis, Victor Martinez, Joe Giravicius, Jim Harbaugh, Finn Wolfhard, and Eddie Vedder. Pearl Jam, overrated, underrated?
Underrated.
I think they're overrated. I think they're a little overrated.
Your music is so messed up.
A little overrated.
Your music takes are just horrendous.
What's the best Pearl Jam song?
Even Flow.
Black. Black is the answer. Even Flow. It's fine.
Whatever,
It's
dude.
fine.
Whatever.
It's fine. But just take it for what it is. Kevin Stefanski would hate because he loves Pearl Jam. All right, 2 movies for you. We go back. This day, 1987. In the medium of this is an American war comedy film.
Okay.
Set during obviously a war. And it stars a very famous actor as an armed forces radio services DJ who provides a hugely popular with the troops but infuriates his superiors.
Okay, I don't know what this movie's about, so this could be an awful guess. So don't be like,
It's a guess.
I don't know what Full Metal Jacket's about.
It's not Full Metal
Okay,
Jacket.
so
It's
I don't
not
know
Full
if that
Metal
had anything to do with what you said.
No. So if you don't get it with that, I don't know if you get this
Probably
one.
not.
It's Robin Williams. Have you heard of Good Morning Vietnam?
I have.
Okay, so Good Morning Vietnam. He's like, good morning. Being in radio, which is crazy. I've never actually seen that movie either. So, but it is what it is. Good Morning Vietnam. All right, next up, final one for us today. This day, 1971. This is this actually spawned several sequels, all surrounding the same character, but all the sequels were not named the same. This is a neo-noir action thriller film. He plays a San Francisco Police Department inspector, and it draws upon the real-life case of the Zodiac Killer. where this guy is tasked with finding somebody who's out there doing bad things while sending messages to the police.
This is a movie's franchise?
Yes, they made several sequels after this one. This film, okay, number one, there's a very famous line about ketchup on a hot dog, if you get it. But the other part of this movie, this inspector is very well known for the handgun that he carries in this film. He carries a Smith & Wesson Model 29 44 Magnum. The big-ass gun that this detective inspector was known for.
Is his name the title of the film?
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to get this one.
The actor is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, no. No Clint Eastwood, of course, but...
Dirty Harry Callahan. Dirty Harry. This day, 1970.
Yeah, never heard of it.
What?
Never heard of it.
Oh, my God. It's so good.
Never
So
heard of
good.
it.
So, yeah, he's like this rough and tumble cop. Scorpio is the name of the Zodiac killer for the movie. And there's a scene where, like, he tells Harry, and he's like this, rough and tumble kind of guy who wants to find or whatever. And one of the parts of the movie, he's got to run from payphone to payphone. This guy goes, you have 3 minutes to get to this next payphone, or I'm going to kill this person, or I'm not going to tell you where this person is. And he's got to run. He's got to pick the phone. And, of course, everybody loves the ketchup scene. He goes, nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog.
Completely agree.
I disagree.
I put mayo.
I disagree. And then the other big one, I'm burying the lead here. And this is early. So he's sitting there eating lunch. And there's a a bank robber. They're robbing the bank. And he gets into a shootout. And he's sitting there and he's got the gun pulled on the robber. And he's sitting there and he goes, I know what you're thinking. Did I fire 6 shots or 5? Well, to tell you in truth and the excitement, I lost count myself. So you got to ask yourself one question. Do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? And then he shoots him.
Whenever I think of Clint Eastwood, I always just wonder. So have you seen Gran Torino?
Oh, no, wait. It was empty. No, it wasn't. He pulled the trigger, but it was empty. The robber gave up, and he pulled the trigger anyway because he goes, I was out of bullets, and he knew it. Sorry, I didn't mean to mess that up for you.
No, that's okay.
No, Gran Torino, right, yeah.
I always think, though, like, obviously he stars in it, and he wrote the movie, correct?
Yeah.
Like, he's super, super racist in it. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's the point of the movie.
But I'm like, imagine writing those lines for yourself to say.
I mean, there's those lines about, like, any of these movies, like, Robert Downey Jr. did blackface. And everybody laughed because it was in Tropic Thunder, I
But
guess.
that was cool back then.
I guess. The one I saw this article, and of course everybody wants to get canceled. Like, they want to cancel Colin Jost because they do that. Him and Michael Che.
Yeah, they write each other's jokes.
They write each other's jokes, and his were extremely racist. But I don't know the balance.
But that's the point.
I know that's the whole thing. I don't know the balance on it. But yeah, that's the point of that movie. There's a lot of that. I think about that with actors. Like, yeah, you're gonna sit there and you have to say that word.
Shout out
like,
Quentin Tarantino for writing himself in the role that gets to like lick Salma Hayek's feet.
He said he did that just to do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
He's playing chess.
Checkers while you're playing chess. All right, let's get to it. All right, we got our picks ready to go. We got to do Cavs tonight, dude. We got too much going on here. No bracket this week. We only got a week to go. All right, Green Bay minus 14 against New Orleans. Derek Carr is not playing, right?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't keep up with that franchise.
All right, New Orleans is just 3-14 against the spread in primetime games over the last 5 years. That's the worst in the NFL. They've also not covered in the last 4 road games. Sounds like Spencer Rattler's going to get the start. Alvin Kamara out. Yep, that's all I need. Green Bay. That's right. Alvin Kamara is out. Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going Green Bay. I don't really care what the points are.
Yeah, 14.5 is where it's at.
It's at 14.5.
I got it at an even 14 on our sheet. They like it at 14.5.
I mean, I'll still take it.
Do you want the hook?
Yeah.
All right, 14.5. Give us the hook. New Orleans 3-7 against the spread their last 10, 3-9 straight up in the last 12. They've only covered one of their last 5 games on the road. Green Bay 8-2 straight up in the last 10, 4-1 against the spread, 4-1 straight up in the last 5 games at home. I want to lean the under in this one. Yeah, I kind of like the under in this one. I just don't think New Orleans is going to be able to score. All right, so I'll take Green Bay in that one. All right, we got to get to Wednesday, right? We got 2 games on Wednesday, don't we? Yep. All right, here we go. Next week. And Thursday. Damn, we got to go. All right, KC is a 2.5-point favorite at Pittsburgh. Baltimore is a 4-point favorite on the road against Houston. Thursday night, Seattle is a 3.5-point favorite at Chicago. Obviously, a lot of these trends can change. You want me to run through them, or you just want to make your picks?
Just make our picks.
Okay. Is Pittsburgh broken? I think they might get Pickens back for this game. There's still so much on the line for Kansas City. But you want to know what? It's better if Pittsburgh wins because it keeps things alive for the number 1 seed for Kansas City. And then the Bengals actually need Kansas City to play their guys in week 18 is the whole game within the game here. Because whoever they play, the Bengals need them to lose so the Bengals can make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'll go KC. I just can't pick Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't overthink that.
Okay.
I will go Kansas City as well.
All right, Baltimore 4 on the road against Houston.
Baltimore all day.
You think so?
100%.
I'll differ. I'll take Houston. I think they were looking good in that game until Tank Dell got hurt. And I know they're going to miss him, but I think this could be a little bit of like an emotional turn of events, for them. So I'm going to take Houston. Thursday night football, Seattle, Chicago. I was ready to slam Chicago here, but it's Seattle on the road where Geno Smith is actually semi-competent. 3.5.
I will go Chicago.
Really?
Yes.
I'll go Seattle. We'll differ. That's fine. All right, done and done. So we'll take KC. You'll take Baltimore. I'll take Houston. I'll take Seattle. You take Chicago. That's all against, because, again, we'll be off until Friday, off into the sunset there. All right, here we go. Monday night Cavs. Old friend Colin Sexton back in town tonight.
Young Bull.
Cavs, 13.5-point favorites against Utah. Over-under is 232.5. I'm liking, just give me a little 3-leg. That's it. We hit a nice one Saturday. That's all I'm looking for this, all right?
Just go Donovan 20.
Are you sure, though?
Yes.
Against his old squad?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. All right. NBA. I got really good on the Jared Allen double-double. They loved that from him in the last one. All right. They like the under 232.5. Utah averages 110 a game. We average 121. We give up 110. They give up 120. Utah over has hit 6 out of their last 7 games. The same thing for the Cavs. Utah 4-12 in their last 16 games. They've only covered 1 of their last 6 games against the Cavs. They're 1-4 straight up in their last 5 against us. Cavs 8-1 straight up. They're on a 6-game win streak at home. Utah comes in. They've won back-to-back games on this trip. They beat Brooklyn. They beat Detroit. But before that, they lost 8 of their past 9. I'm sorry, 7 out of their last 8 coming on this road trip. So Utah's cooking a little bit. Cavs, of course, just beat up on Philly. All right, let's do this. All right, Donovan 20. Do you like the Cavs on that number?
What is it?
10.5.
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay. Gets me to -110. Give me one more here. Evan Mobley 3.
Yeah, I love that.
I know you love it. Gets me to +220.
We don't need to get greedy.
All right. $3 does that for you? Done and done. All right, get after it tonight, Cavs. All right, really appreciate everybody. We're going to be off again the next 3 days. We'll be back on Friday. Be following at Matt Fontana Show. Catch us on YouTube at Big Play. We're also up on Instagram at the Big Play side of things. Coming up tonight, got the return. Or no, it's Monday, what I'm saying. Big Play Cleveland Show. And for Dixon and crew, we got it all for you. Just want to wrap up by saying thank you to everybody. This is a holiday season. We certainly wish you and your family a safe, happy holiday season. Enjoy it with your family. And we just appreciate you so much, for being able to do this in the medium that we're on. Tease a little bit of an announcement after the holidays. But, yeah, just really appreciate everybody that follows along on the show, on Twitter, on YouTube, everything. Really, really appreciate your support. So enjoy the hell out of the week. It's actually like perfect because most people are going to be off tomorrow. Most people are going to be off Wednesday, get into the weekend. But also do not forget the people that are working out there. Thank you for doing that. And look out for one another on this holiday season. I do want to promote a couple of things real quick. Ohio Pie Company out there in Brunswick, they're giving away free medium pizzas on Christmas. So they said if you don't have a place to go or you don't have a good meal, go see them. I know Brunswick's kind of far out there, but I did want to promote that real quick. Oh, and by the way, I need you to clip this and actually send this to me. Shout out to everybody out, Krista, Sonic. Dude, they dropped me off a package of the Sonic stuff. I got my Sega Genesis out this weekend. I gave my son the controller to play Sonic. Bro, he could play it. It was so much fun.
Who gave you this?
So there's the Sonic, the movie is out.
Right.
And they did a little merch drop for me. So I sent it out on Twitter. Did you see it? I got posters. They sent me some hats. They sent me a shirt and all that kind of stuff. And it got me going about Sonic because they also have the Happy Meals out now as well. You can get the Sonic stuff. Dude, nostalgia all the live long day for me playing Sonic. So then I gave my son, they gave us the shoes that are like slippers, like Sonic and Knuckles, like feet. They're like white and red and all that kind of stuff. He will not take these things off. He will not take these things off. He loves them so much. So I sent it out at Matt Fontana 83. You can see you can see all the merch that they dropped off, which was great. But I just gotta thank Allied and Krista for dropping that off. But go see the new Sonic movie. It's out, and now I think I kind of got him in. We're at the store the other day, and he's seeing Sonic, so I'm like, dude, you want to go see your first movie? Sonic 3, it's out. Shadow is in that. Knuckles is in it. It's awesome. So I got to thank them so much, again, for the drop and a great weekend. Go out and see the movie. It's going to be awesome. So, again, I appreciate everybody joining us. Ryan, thank you for what you do, man. Really appreciate you. We'll talk to you on Friday. For Ryan Tyler, I'm Matt Fontana. Have a Merry Christmas, safe and happy holidays. Take it easy.